Hello, welcome to Deep Space 5. This is a new Star Trek game, and we are the people playing it. I am going to run through some intro stuff first to get us started, to introduce everyone and our sponsors. Let's start with Blue Jay, if you want to say who you are and where you are on the internet. We'll do our characters after all this.
Sure, yeah. You guys might know me because I just started a show on this channel last week, City of Mists, and now here I am again. Hi, I'm Blue Jay. You can find me most days at twitch.tv/BlueJay or on Twitter at BlueJay_712. I play role-playing games all the heckin' time, and it's really, I love it. So that's me.
And Lisa, you next.
I'm Lisa Chen. You might know me from all of the D&D stuff I do. I write D&D adventures for the Adventurers League and Wizards of the Coast, and I am the community manager for the Adventurers League as well, and have a podcast called Behold Her, all about women in tabletop RPGs. So lots of D&D stuff, but Star Trek is new for me. It's a new system, so everybody be gentle and kind.
Oh. And finally, your friend and mine, Hadil.
I'll never escape that. It's fine. Hi, I'm Hadil. You can find me on Twitter at Twittysh, TWITTYSCH. On Thursdays, I play Captain the Birdcage on twitch.tv/D&D, and on Sunday, I play Hell's Bells on twitch.tv/D&D. And that's it for me. I've never played Star Trek either, so be nice to me or else.
Yeah. And you might want to hold your mic a little closer. It is still a little quiet.
Just better.
Yeah. And I am
ASMR.
Yeah, please, the whole time.
Please just hold your mic inside of your mouth.
Yeah, put it inside your mouth. Thanks. I'm Kayla. I am game mastering. This is also technically my first time with the system. I've played one test game, so be gentle with me too. We're all learning, except for Blue Jay. She's the master. You can find me on the internet at KAYNCLI. I do a lot of D&D art. The only other game I'm currently in is in Hell's Bells with Lisa and Hadil and some other wonderful people. Other than that, that's all I do. And real quick, I will go through the sponsors that we have here. We are currently, in this game, we are rolling with Fantasy Grounds, which is a virtual tabletop emulator. I'm not using any maps on it, just to roll. But you can try it for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get any of your miniatures that you may desire in your life from Wayland Games, which is at waylandgames.co.uk. And there's a huge range of D&D, Warhammer, and 40k minis for 20% off on there, so that's pretty nice. I don't know if they have any Star Trek. I'll have to look.
I know that there are Star Trek minis that exist, but I don't know where they exist. So
hopefully on Wayland Games, where you can get them for 20% off. And finally, Tabletop Loot provide fantastic dice, which we will give away at the end of each game. So definitely should be one today. So you go to tabletoploot.com and you can see all the different sets that you can win in each session. And you can also use !sponsor if you want to see all those relevant links. And a big thing about Encounter Roleplay is that you're able to interact with the game. When we hit 20 retweets, we get a viewer decision, and you get to decide something that happens next. Hopefully horrible to them, that's fine. When we... Tribbles!
So mean.
So yeah, it looks like every 20 retweets we'll have a viewer decision. And of course you can donate to affect the game and give the players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, which will have to be reskinned because this is science. And do note that in this particular system, nat 1s are good and nat 20s are bad. So nat 20s tend to add complications to situations, and nat 1s result in double successes. So keep that in mind when if you choose to do that. So now we are going to begin. I'm going to start with an introduction, and then we'll get into character introductions to do it that way. So the setting of this game, as you can probably guess, is the space station Deep Space Nine. This space station is situated next to a wormhole in Bajoran space. It used to be occupied by Cardassians. It was built by Cardassians during the Cardassian occupation of Bajor, but now the Federation has it and has moved it next to this wormhole, which serves as a gateway to the Gamma Quadrant. Crazy things come through it all the time, and here we find our three heroes living their day-to-day lives on the station. First up, we have a lovely Trill woman who is doing her daily activities. And Blue Jay, I would like for you to tell me a little bit about your character, what she looks like, and what she's doing today, and how she feels.
Okay. So my character is Lidra Odon. Lidra rhymes with Libra, if you miss that. She is fairly young as far as Trill go, but her symbiont has already been through several lives. At one point, it was actually inside the body of William Riker, if you remember that Star Trek episode. She was raised before she was joined on a research station. So she's been studying her whole life and is a lot better at that than she is at chatting with people. She's a science officer on Deep Space Nine. She mostly focuses on xenobiology and genetics, with a little bit of psychiatry and cultural studies. She wants to learn about people. She just doesn't have a lot of experience with people, but her symbiont does. So hopefully that'll help. She was just joined fairly recently, so she's still kind of getting used to the combination of personalities that comes with having a symbiont. Right now, she is probably in it's not a medical bay, it's just like medical, I guess. Because on Deep Space Nine, medical's like in the center of the promenade, right?
Yeah, and I think it's just called the infirmary. I think that's
So she's probably in the infirmary. Her hair is light brown. I didn't have a wig, but just imagine her hair is light brown and usually always just like swept up really quickly into a bun. She's bending over a microscope and like taking different slides and like looking at them and then switching it back and taking notes with she's like pen and pad because she likes to be able to like look, and she doesn't want to like watch herself type on the pad, so she has a little like Apple Pencil or whatever on the pad. And she's still feeling a little bit off balance because of being joined and also assigned to the station, but she's very confident in her work, so she's just kind of burying her head in that a little bit right now.
All right. Well, while Lidra is busily working away, two new people enter the infirmary. One is a young Bajoran girl who is chatting pretty much in the direction of a Vulcan woman who does not look particularly interested. And Hadil, I would like to hear about your character, who she is, and how she's feeling about this Bajoran girl.
I play Tamal, a Vulcan medical officer. She is very no-nonsense, doesn't believe in displaying any sort of emotion, and does not understand the concept of being on equal footing with others. You are either someone in charge, or you are a subordinate. She's very precise. I imagine that like anytime she has a workspace, it's like painstakingly like set out and nothing can be out of place. She specializes in like disease, I suppose, so like infectious disease, virology, that kind of thing. I'm sure she likes parasites or something equally disgusting. So yes. She was raised on a frontier colony, so she hasn't had a lot of interaction with others, but hold on, my computer keeps like doing a weird thing and I'm like afraid that it's gonna explode. What are you doing? Okay, and she's doing her residency on Deep Space Nine.
Well,
Did I miss
the
anything?
Bajoran that you're with is actually someone that you know. Her name is Perrin, and she came with you when you were assigned to residency. So she is someone that considers you a friend, but not too clear
We are
on
not
how. She likes to tell you that you are friends,
We are
and
not
she's very excited to be following you around animatedly. And in her jovial way, she kind of moves about the infirmary, picking up things, looking at things. She's actually a security officer, so she absolutely does not belong there.
She does not belong here. She does not need to be handling my equipment.
But as she does this, an elderly Betazoid woman bursts into the infirmary, and that is how we will introduce Lisa, if you want to talk about your character.
I am playing a space grandma. Her name is Tula Talor, and she was once this beautiful young Betazoid woman who just sort of showed up out of nowhere, and is used to having traveled all over space, modeling various space fashions and going to parties and enjoying high society life. But having collected all of these experiences, she is now retired, and was still getting up to trouble. So she's been sent to Deep Space Nine for her grand nephew to keep an eye on her and keep her out of trouble, which I'm sure is definitely what is going to happen. I haven't named her nephew, so I don't know if chat wants to name him for me. I'll keep an eye on chat. Please name him something nice. I just realized I gave you a lot of power. But Tula has come in, and she's pushing past people and insisting that she gets an appointment right away because she's pretty sure she's getting Bajoran mumps. Last time I was in Bajoran space, I got Bajoran mumps. And if you look right here, and she's like shoving her arm into people's faces, there's a spot right here. I'm pretty sure a spot is forming. In fact, I will do that to Tamal. I will put my arm in Tamal's face.
Tamal takes her arm and gently holds it out and goes, "That is a mole."
No, it's growing as we look at it. It's growing slowly, but I'm pretty sure I would like another opinion and a proper examination, please.
And you hear in the background, there's a little office space or whatever. You hear the sigh of Lidra, and she turns around from the microscope and is like, "Tula, you don't have the Bajoran mumps, but if you'd like, I can give you a physical." And she looks over to Tamal and she says, "Don't worry about it."
I think just to be sure, I should definitely have a physical. You can't have too many physicals, can you?
We'll ensure you're healthy. Come and sit over here. And she leads you to one of the tables.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Tamal a look as Lidra takes care of me.
And she's doing the classic tricorder scan. I have a little thing, very Star Trek.
You missed a spot, and I point at my shoulder.
The scanner has a wider range than you'd might imagine. Just hold still.
And Perrin, the Bajoran that was hanging out with Tamal, is just intruding very much on everyone's personal space. And she's looking as well and is like, "No, it seems like it's probably Bajoran mumps. It to me, it does, at least, as a second opinion."
See, someone is taking me seriously. Thank you.
Tamal places her hands on Perrin's shoulders and forcefully guides her out the door, and flat hand pushes her out and closes the door, and then goes back
Perrin's
to rearranging.
"Okay, see you later."
She does not have proper clearance to be in here and starts rearranging gloves so they pop out the correct way. And
you don't need clearance to be in the medical bay. Tamal.
She needs clearance. She needs special clearance.
She might need guidance, but I don't think she needs clearance.
Needs clearance.
Tula's signature look, she has like these fibers made from special crystals woven into her hair so that as she senses people's emotions around her, as betazoids tend to do, her hair changes color like a mood ring. And right now she's getting streaks of red.
Ooh. Well, you hear Perrin shout through the door like, I had to go anyways, but I'll see you later for dinner, okay? Through the door at you, Tamal.
And I think
So
that Lidra, while she's scanning you, she's like, you haven't drank any poly water recently, have you? And she just like keeps scanning.
I don't know. Could I have consumed it by accident? Or why? Is there something? And she just starts blabbing on and on, listing like different water-related diseases that she's read about.
And you see like Lidra is kind of like holding in like a giggle because she's just like fucking with you.
There's like a streak of pink that goes through my hair, and she will just be like, "Oh, I see. Well, that's not very professional."
You're fine, Tula. Every time you come in here, at the very worst, you're hungry because you refuse to eat anything from the replicators, which are fine. Also, everyone on the station eats from them, and we're all completely healthy.
I've heard that replicators can hurt your immune system.
They do not.
Well, as everyone is chatting amongst themselves about Tula's craziness, Dr. Bashir enters the room in a hurry, and he kind of shoves people out of the way, kind of opens up a table, and says, and looks at you, Lidra, and says, "Can you go to Quarks? Someone collapsed there. We can't transport them. We don't know what's wrong. Someone just collapsed."
Are you sure it wouldn't be more appropriate for Tamal? I mean, I'll do it, of course. And she like
both of you can go. Both of you can go. It's fine.
Yeah.
And he seems like very flustered. He's. What'd you say?
I said I was also about to raise the question. Perhaps I am more qualified to go assist.
Bashir kind of looks at both of you and he's like, "It's fine. Both, either or, but we need to go get this person immediately."
Of course.
Tamal starts to walk a little faster. Like,
we need
Lidra to make sure she's like getting there a little faster.
Do we need an anti-grav? Like, what are those things that you use to carry people?
Or like a stretcher.
Do we need an anti-grav stretcher?
Yes, take a stretcher with you so you can bring them back.
And I pull it out of a closet.
As you take the anti-grav stretcher, Tula will say, "I am feeling weak," and I'll just collapse into it and just come with you guys.
Tula, really,
thoughtful,
there's an emergency. I get that you have issues with your sense of self, but really, like, someone is actually hurting. So if you don't mind, we'd like to keep this sanitary, if possible.
I look a little bit embarrassed. But my hair has turned this like red pink color with like sparkles since Dr. Bashir came into the bay, and I'll just kind of look at Lidra, and I'll look at Dr. Bashir, and I'll look at Lidra, and I'll look at Dr. Bashir.
And when you look at Lidra, she's definitely looking at Dr. Bashir, and then she sees you look at her, and she goes back to fiddling with the anti-grav stretcher that you collapsed on, and she's just like, "Okay, let's just go."
I guess,
and we go to
the three of you. Yeah, the three of you together with one floating, I guess, on the stretcher.
Evidently.
You arrive at Quarks, and there's quite a crowd converged around there. They seem to be surrounding someone who completely is just passed out on the floor, and upon closer examination, you see it's Perrin that was there with you earlier. I However,
Could she have caught my mumps?
You don't.
They're
You do
spreading
not
so
have mumps.
quickly. We should quarantine me.
Yes, we should really, but not for that reason. Tamal, and like, are you already like scanning?
Yeah, I have the triage focus.
oh yeah, we
Don't
can
know what that
try. We can
means.
do a little challenge to see if you can tell what's wrong with her.
Do I roll 2 d20s for this?
Yes,
It depends. So if you have like an extra like trait, it might reduce the difficulty. If you have momentum or determination, or if you want to add threat, you might get more points in case of the difficulty is higher. So like she'd give you the difficulty, and then you could choose if you wanted to roll more than 2 dice.
Okay. What is the
I don't think we have
difficulty?
any momentum yet, though.
Yeah, not
No.
yet.
Not yet.
no
But you can add
momentum
to
yet.
threat.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
But we'll say that this is a challenge of insight and science, probably, I would say, and a difficulty of 2.
And you said you have a focus, so that means that each die that rolls equal to or less than the discipline being used scores 2 successes.
Okay. So I would roll 2 and then
You're trying to get equal to or lower than your insight plus science. So what number is that?
insight is 2 plus science is 2. So we want something lower than 4?
Wait, how is your
Equal to
insight
or
only
lower.
2?
Is that right?
Your insight should be like 7 to 13.
Oh, it must be. Did you maybe add 2 points to whatever you started out with?
I think so.
'Cause I think you start out with 7 points in each.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
then it would be
correct?
9.
So
Yeah.
9, all right.
9 and 9, right?
Sam. Yes,
9, and then your
9.
science would be 2, you said? Because science is a number between, disciplines are a number between 1 and 5, and
Okay.
attributes are a number between 7 and like 13.
Okay, so
Okay.
so 9 and 2 is
Yeah.
11.
Yeah, so that would mean you want to roll 11 or lower to have a success.
1 d20 then.
You roll 2 still.
Roll 2? Okay.
Yep. 2
Yeah, you
D20s.
always roll 2.
B.
Okay, so
Same.
2 successes,
Oh.
which is what you needed.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I guess, do those both count as double successes so she gains 2 momentum?
No. It would only count as double success if it was lower than her discipline, which was 2. And they're not.
Okay. So you are good. You succeeded to be able to tell that she has some kind of infection. There's something completely unnatural, some kind of unnatural infection that you do not have. You are not able to determine with your tricorder. But it is spreading very rapidly throughout her system, and it is heading into her nervous system. You can see that's what it's affecting. So it's important, it's very paramount that you get her stabilized before things get worse.
Tula is standing immediately over your shoulder, trying to look at your, what's the device that she uses called again?
Tricorder.
Tricorder. I'm like staring at your tricorder screen. I don't know what any of it means, but maybe there's like a little diagram and you see like little stuff going through this like body shape. And Tula is just like in your face, in the way, saying, "Oh my gosh, what's that?" And, "Oh, it's spreading. This is so terrible. Oh, there's all these people crowded here." And just being very loud and in your way.
I would like to take my hand and put it on Tula's face and push her out of the way.
I'm sensing that you're angry. I don't know if you should be working on somebody.
You are
Tula,
sensing
pushed away.
correctly.
Tula, come here. And I push the anti-grav stretcher down so that you can get Parent on it, Tamal, and I'm grabbing Tula and this is actually an emergency. You should not be in the way. And also, I'm pretty sure Tamal will just the Vulcan neck pinch you, and then you would actually have a problem.
I don't know.
Yes.
She should get some anger management.
She's Vulcan. She
My-
doesn't need anger management.
My anger is managed. I would like to put Perrin on the stretcher.
Okay. Yeah, you are super strong, so there's no
Yeah, very
issue with
strong.
that. Yeah,
Ripped
strong
as
core.
hell.
Ripped as hell. So you easily place Perrin onto the stretcher, and you can take her back. You kind of have to get people out of the way. Everyone is being very obnoxious, trying to see what's going on.
How dare.
And I know. So you wheel her back to the medical bay, and Bashir kind of immediately jumps onto the scene, does some scanning himself, and places her onto a bed and erects a force field around her. And he begins running some various tests and things. And he looks a little thoughtful, and then he turns back to you, to all of you, and he says, Did anyone here touch her?
Why?
And he just kind of zeroes in immediately on you, and he's like, Did you come into contact with her?
Probably
She examined my Bajoran mumps, which I
You
definitely
don't have
have.
Bajoran mumps.
She said that I did.
She's
He
not
is
at
not
all
a
medical.
doctor.
He looks down at Perrin and he's like, yes, she's definitely security. He looks at her red outfit and he looks back at you, Tula, and he says,
It would be yellow, I think.
security. I think yellow is the red security, isn't it?
Well, anyway, on Deep Space Nine, as a Bajoran, she'd be wearing the tan uniform of Bajoran
yes.
security.
You're right.
So
You're right. She's wearing tan.
Actually,
Corrected me.
I'm so sorry.
Actually, no, you're fine. You're fine. So she's wearing tan. So she's Bajoran security. She is not medical, but the matter of the fact is, you, and he points at you, Tula, need to go in here, and he points at a little isolation chamber.
I look at Lidra and I look at Tamal and I just say, "What did I tell you?" And I very stoically walk into my isolation chamber.
As it,
And he looks over.
As it closes, Tamal just has as much as a Vulcan can smile, just a little
blessed silence.
good.
Well, and he thinks for a moment, and he's like, "Which one of you placed Perrin onto the stretcher? Did you come in direct contact with her skin?"
Yes, I was the one that placed her on the stretcher. I too must be isolated.
He gestures at you and points at the chamber that Tula went into.
No, I would like my own separate chamber.
We cannot risk cross-contaminating other
Perhaps
areas.
shoot
You
me
need to
on
go in
the
there.
airlock. Okay.
That's an order.
Tula's gonna wave through the glass. Come, my dear. Come on.
Okay. It's not stoic, but I go in there.
He looks at you, Lidra, and he says, he kind of sighs heavily. He sighs heavily, and he looks at what he's gathering, the information that he's gathering, and he looks at you and he says, I'm very glad that you're here. This seems to be something I'm not terribly familiar with, and we need to find out what it is fast and make sure that they aren't infected. And
if you're able to transport some samples of the infected flesh into the research lab, I can run some tests.
Yes, that's a fantastic idea. And he shuffles over to go do that. And he thinks for a moment, and he's like, if you can isolate the infection or some sort of signature for it, we can scan your friends for it as well and see if they are infected.
I'll do my best.
And he looks at you and he says, I know you'll do great. And he goes over and works on transporting the tissue for you.
Lidra is stoic and yes, job. And then the second he turns around, she's just like, and then goes everything's fine, and goes back to the because the research lab is actually a different room, so she probably goes to the turbolift or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a wing of it, isn't it? Should've
I'm not
opened up.
100% sure about the map of Deep Space Nine. Let me, is there a map of Deep Space Nine?
There are maps.
Oh my god.
Maps, isn't that crazy? While I look for that map, just because, Tula and Tamal. Yeah, what are you two doing?
In the isolation chamber, you can see through the glass, although maybe you can't hear through it. But Tula has her like arms wrapped around Tamal since she feels safe. They're both in fact fine. And she's like hugging Tamal close, and you can just see her talking really passionately. Tamal, I am lecturing you on your bedside manner.
I am not listening. I'm just like very stiff, like standing almost at like attention, just like a tiny little twitch in my very sharp Vulcan eyebrow.
I'm getting a very like don't touch me vibe.
Yeah, just like
please stop touching me. It's fine. We can just say it's like a wing of the infirmary. I go around the corner onto the other set, obviously. And there's a dome which is already like self-contained, probably not quite a vacuum, but mostly airless, where you would put samples that were possibly contagious, and that would be where like it like you see the transporter like do the little like glisten, and then there's like a tiny little sample on a scanning like bed, like it's just meant to like the whole thing is just lights up and like you can see it start like scanning and all this information comes up on the computer screens, and she does that like thing that people do where they tap a lot of the like the screens and like yes, and let me go over to this screen and like tap some more things. And basically I would like to do what Bashir asked me to do, where he wanted to know if I could find a way to scan for the presence of this contagion in other people to first and foremost make sure that we know who's infected and who's not.
I would say that might also be insight and science, unless you feel otherwise. It might be medicine, actually.
Of course. Like, you're probably better at medicine, Tamal, and I'm better at science if we get the flop. Let me just... Because I think it's more likely to be, like, reason in my mind. But let me just, like, check on what the...
Yes. Logic and meticulous analysis.
Yeah, insight is more about, like, feelings.
So I would say... I should have done reason earlier, actually. So reason and medicine. And since this is...
knowledge of ailments and diseases. Yeah, that makes sense.
I would say since this is something that a couple scans has not been able to pick up, this is going to be a little more difficult. Possibly, let's say, a difficulty of 3.
Okay. I have a focus in emergency medicine, and this is definitely an emergency.
Yes, for sure.
And then I'll go ahead and give you another threat to get an extra die. So I think you start with 2 for each character.
Correct.
So okay, so I'll roll 3 d20s, and in this case, anything below my medicine of 3 is going to be a double success, and altogether I have 15. So anything 15 or below is a success. All right, so I get 2 successes. And what was the difficulty?
3. So not doesn't quite make it. Oh no! You fail, senpai.
Do anything else to like add to it?
I thought you actually started out with a point of momentum. So
you start out with a point of determination. Yeah, that's an automatic like 2 successes.
Do any of your values apply here to where you could use your determination? I believe you can. If your value applies, I think you can use your determination to buy another dice, I think.
I mean, let me just check real quick, because I definitely have my value of the search for knowledge is life's most worthy goal. This is a search for knowledge.
It's true.
Okay, so a single point of momentum adds. So we don't have any momentum. I already spent the threat. Yeah, so it looks like a few talents might grant bonus d20s. Do I have any talents that might grant a bonus? When you attempt a task using engineering or science, but it was medicine. When you succeed at a task, which I didn't succeed. Yeah, I don't really have anything else than using determination. So that would be I add a single bonus d20, and the die bot is considered to have already rolled a 1, so that's 2 more successes. And I'll mark off my determination for this scene, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And then that is an extra success.
One momentum.
Yes, one momentum. So you are able to immediately tell that this infection is not normal. It is actually fungal, and it is going into her brain. It will travel straight into her brain. To relate it to something that you have been familiar with on Terra, on Earth, they have a type of fungus that takes over various like ants and creatures and then just becomes them, is able to use their brain and control them. And so it is not good, and it is spreading through that tissue fast. You can already tell. So you know exactly what it is and what it's going to do, and you are able to program your tricorder to detect it properly in the early stages, because you did very well.
Can I use the momentum like immediately to learn about, like, do I have any idea about how to like destroy the damaged tissues or like stop them from growing as opposed to just detecting them?
The only thing that you can determine from this is there may be a way to place the person that is infected in some sort of anti-gravity field, which might remove the spores and the growth from their own tissue, because it's not exactly infecting it in the way a disease would. It's infecting it in that it's grabbing onto it and it's spreading throughout it. So there might be a way that you can finagle something that would separate the two of them, but that's the best idea that you can get out of what you're seeing, since it's not technically a disease, and it's a kind of a parasite, more or less.
Okay. So I'm assuming that this takes like a little while. Like it's not just like immediately you get all this information. Like I'm working.
Right. So I don't know if Tula and Tamal, who are stuck in a room, have anything else.
Meanwhile, in the isolation chamber, Tula, I feel like, is sitting cross-legged across from Tamal, and she's been producing crystals that are like tucked in her hair and put them around. So there's like a healing crystal all around us, and she's meditating. And she'll just like calmly say to Tamal, Tamal, my dear, we might very well die in here. It seemed like a very serious emergency. It would be dull to die not having gotten to know you. Tamal, what makes you tick? What makes you you, my dear? I'll like touch your face.
Tamal says nothing. She is using every Vulcan cell in her body to not just tear you in half.
What color is my hair right now? Reading off of Tamal's emotions or your equivalent of emotions.
I'm like looking at the guide for mood rings.
Yes.
What color are mood rings?
1990s mood rings colors.
Claire's specifically.
Claire's mood rings, yes.
It says that black is stress and tense. So let's go with black.
Ooh.
Yeah, my hair is like jet black right now. I can't see it, but
do you have this ability, but you just literally never have your hair down to where you can see it?
Yeah, my hair is always like up in cool shapes.
Oh man.
I mean,
so
my hand is like firmly on like my phaser, which I think only goes to stun because I'm not security personnel, but it's just It's just there. I'm just holding it for comfort at this point.
And it'll say, I understand if you don't want to open up. Not everybody is as open as my people. But here I'd like to give you a gift, and I'll take out, I don't know, like a rose quartz. It's so, it's soothing. It has really strong healing properties. I last had it when I had, what's the disease chat gave me? When I had a Ferengi ear infection, and I kept the crystal on my ear, and it definitely 100% healed me. And here to help you so that both of us don't have to fall to this terrible, terrible plague that is spreading. I hand it to you.
Tamal will take the rose quartz, but she knows that it's just a rock. She'll say nothing, because logically, if she says anything, she knows that it will just be a whole thing. So she will just take it.
It is a whole thing anyway.
Yeah, there is no winning. I just hold it in defeat.
Okay, so I guess like this amount of time while this is happening, and you can kind of see it in the corner of the med bay. They're both sitting like in this isolation chamber, and I definitely think that it's been set so that the sound doesn't permeate. But Lidra comes back into the room, and she says, "Dr. Bashir, I've scanned the infected tissue, and probably the reason why we couldn't figure it out before is that it's behaving more like a fungi and less like an actual bacterial infection. I've programmed this tricorder," and she like hands him a tricorder, to scan for the spores. But I'm not quite sure yet how we should go about helping Perrin. I think I might be on a lead with an anti-grav field and trying to separate the fungi from her cells, but still got more testing to do.
He takes the tricorder from you, and in doing so, gently brushes one of your fingers with his finger. Possibly intentionally, possibly not. It's hard to
roll
read.
Insight.
Was this on purpose?
He takes it and he's like,
insight and command, or no?
Insight command. I mean, do you want to? Does he love
all
me?
them
1/N. Just
No,
going
I'll
around the corner.
I'll know.
You know, deep down inside. He takes it and he's like, this is bad, but this is good that you found this. He kind of goes over in the corner and he hits his communicator and says something to the effect of that area needing to be where Perrin was found needs to be quarantined. And he goes back over to Perrin. Yeah, he's probably very mad. And he takes the tricorder over to Perrin, and he does a quick scan on her with it and confirms that what you said is true. It's picking up on everything that you stated. And then he hands it back to you and he says, "Can you scan them? I'm going to work on taking your research and seeing if I can stabilize the spread here, and then we can work on trying to separate it like you recommended."
Of course, yeah. And I feel like there's got to be she probably just asks you to come to the front. Like she turns it so that the sound will permeate, and she asks you to come to the front of the isolation cell one by one. She sees how Tamal is like holding onto her phaser, and she says, "Tamal, can you stand right in front of the force field for me?"
Yes, I push Tula out of the way, like strong
Tula, you'll
Vulcan armor.
You'll have to step back so that I can get a scan of just Tamal.
I understand. Tamal, I feel like we've bonded so much during these dire times, and I throw myself around you, and I hug you, and I whisper in your ear, "Good luck, my friend."
I just make like an annoyed like noise,
and then I like.
Yes, like I'm like trying to like push my arms out and stand in front of the in the area for Lidra.
Yeah, I'm definitely like trying to hold in how funny I find this, because I know that you don't find it funny at all. So I'm just like, and then I like very professionally just like put my head down and look at the tricorder and I scan you. So like, do you want me to actually like do a scan, or?
Yeah, let's just do one. Just one check for both of them.
For both.
Mhm.
All right.
And would we do... I guess we would do science this time, would it be?
Science and control is performing a delicate experiment. Science and reason is forming a hypothesis from available information or performing research.
So I'd say science and reason, I guess, for scanning someone for if they're infected or how infected, because you're trying to research that, unless you think otherwise.
Medicine and reason is to diagnose an illness from an examination.
Oh, yes, it's up here on the other page. Yes, let's go for that.
Okay.
It's just a difficulty of 1 for that, because you've already figured out how to program this and everything.
Right. Okay. So
That's like a basic
I really should
task.
have more stuff about medicine, but I really don't. Okay, so my medicine is 3. I have the focus of emergency medicine still, so I think that this is fairly emergency. So that if I get anything below at 3 or below, it's a double, and then I'll just roll my regular 2d20. Double success, and I have to get 15 or below. Wait, what? Oh, I did the wrong thing. Reason and medicine. Okay, so I got 3 successes.
Oh,
That two is a double. So that means you said it was a 1 difficulty?
Yeah, so that's 2 to the momentum.
Yeah, and momentum is a pool that anyone in the scene can use.
Yes.
So if you guys need to use some, go ahead. That's totally cool.
If you need extra momentum.
So what do I learn from scanning these 2 ladies? Are they infected?
You see for a second a blip on Tula's scan, but then it goes away. So it appears to you that they seem clean, but that blip kind of hangs in your mind for a little bit. And you scan her again really quick, and there's nothing there. So
Okay,
I would make sure.
There's nothing on Tamal's?
No, nothing. Tamal's came clean, but you had that one blip, and it's bothering you, but you can't get it to happen
so
again.
I'll scan Tamal, and when I don't see anything on Tamal, I let her out of the emergency containment, and then I scan Tula, and I see the blip, and then I scan her again, and I don't see anything. But I'm like, just 1 second, and I ask for Tamal to come over to the corner, and I'm like, I can't be certain, but I think I might have seen something on Tula's scan. It went away, and I look at her, and I'm just like, maybe it would be better if she stayed here.
We should keep her
now.
in here. Yes.
I thought you might think that.
Yes.
Forever.
Tamal would like to go to the front of the glass and be like, "It appears that you are infected. You will be remaining inside of the isolation chamber."
Oh no! I very dramatically, with lots of arm movements, fall to the ground.
Your bedside manner is just excellent, Tamal. And I write up a little, I go to a pad and I write up a little, I scanned both of them and this is what I found. We're keeping Tula in the chamber because I'm not certain and I don't want to take chances, and then probably submit it for Dr. Bashir. He's probably working on scanning everyone else on the entire station, so I'm not going to bug him, but I just want him to know that I did what he told me to do.
I did it and I did a good job. So
I did a great job. So I just want him to know that I did a good job.
I would like to crawl dramatically into the circle of crystals as Lidra thinks about her crush while I die.
Tula, do you need anything?
No, I'm fine. Don't waste resources on me.
Bashir comes into the room
Some
and
water, though, me.
Oh my gosh.
I'll
He
see
kind
if
of
I can
looks-
find any non-replicated water for you, Tula.
Bashir kind of looks down at Tula on the ground. He enters and looks down and he just shakes his head. He's very familiar with Tula. Tula is a frequent visitor to the infirmary for various reasons, obviously.
And I think that Lidra is like, she pushes some hair out of her like face and like, I submitted my results. We're keeping Tula in quarantine just because the results were less conclusive than I'd like. It didn't seem like there was anything, but I had to scan her twice, and I really can't be sure. And Tamal seemed to think that she's better contained. So, all of my scans are I submitted them in the computer.
Okay. He nods and he looks at your scans and he looks back at Tula, and he's like, I can attempt a scan as well and see what I get. And he takes the tricorder.
I would like to stand up as if it's taking me great effort, and then out of habit I will strike a magnificent pose with lots of like angles, and it looks great.
Oh, it's
You're
beautiful.
just voting in the chamber.
A shaft of light, a spotlight comes down on you.
Yeah, I find the light with my face.
Yes, beautiful. Well, Bashir runs a scan and he looks thoughtful, and he's like, it must have just been an error. She seems clean here. Miss Tula has a little higher security clearance than you expect. I can't keep her here. If we need to isolate her, it has to be elsewhere.
Whatever you think is of course appropriate. I'll just do you need anything else?
No, that's he kind of shakes his head and he presses the button to release Tula, and he kind of nods at you. He's made it clear that Tula is important, but he doesn't want to say why. And he lets you exit.
I think and you confirm this for me, Tula, but I feel like you're always insisting that you're very important. so when someone else is like, she's got higher security clearance, I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Sure
she does. I can't believe you believe her when she says that.
I will oh no, go ahead.
No, he kind of looks and he says, either way, she is coming up clean now. I do not think that she is a threat. I don't think any of you are infected. I will head back to Quarks and continue scanning the area and make sure that no one there is infected. And for now, Tamal, your friend Perrin is stable.
She is not my friend.
I will start picking up my circle of crystals and putting them in my hair. And I'll pick up the rose quartz and give it to Tamal. You left this in the chamber. I guess since we're both clear, it should be fine.
I watch this, and then I follow after Bashir, and I'm like, do you need any help with, and then I my voice lowers a little bit when I realize that I was just like, with scanning, and Quarks, I could help.
He says, no, wait here for now, monitor the patient, and I will be back shortly. And he leaves and the door shuts.
And she just nods, and then she goes back to the microscope that she was looking at where all of her samples are still out, and then looks at Perrin and then is like, I'm sure she'll be fine, and goes back to doing the work she was doing.
While Bashir was still here, my hair had transitioned to this deep, deep red with pink tones going in and out of it. And now that he's left, it's dying down and maybe going back to that black because Tamal is there. And I'll just say, Lidra, you're so cute. And I will hit, boop you on the nose.
Don't touch me.
Was there a name to this terrible disease that Perrin caught?
Considering we haven't seen anything like it before, I don't think it's been named yet. Tamal was the first to scan it. That would mean that it's...
Tamal just gives it this long serial number. Fancy, just a long string of numbers.
So I guess that's the working name.
Yes.
Oh no, and you can see her like thinking and like recording that in her brain. Are you sure that it's safe for me to leave? I mean, you scanned me multiple times, and if you've not seen this, you don't know how to cure it.
If Dr. Bashir says it's safe, then I'm sure it's safe. He's a very good doctor.
Very well, but I've noticed that the other examinations that we've done have not been as thorough as these. So I will be speaking to Dr. Bashir about the medical bay's standards. And
technically, I'm just a researcher and not...
just like slow, babble to nothing. Well, while this is happening, you hear kind of some noise from the table that Perrin's on. It seems that now, in the time that Bashir has left, the fungus has started growing tendrils out from her body. It does not seem as stable as he thought it was. It's just little fingers of them kind of floating up. He is still completely passed out, but it's definitely growing, and it's growing at a rapid rate.
She's like in some sort of like an isolate,
yes.
right? Or is like
yeah, like a little
Tamal just
like the table's isolated. It's got a force field around it.
okay. Tamal looks like over at it and says, "That is troubling." And like, has Tula left, or is Tula still in the?
She's like maybe in the doorway. And did you say troubling? What's troubling?
I said it quietly.
Can I? What would be? What would be a perception check?
Yeah, what would be?
Probably insight and something else.
Insight and command, maybe? No, that's mood and morale of subordinates. Insight.
Maybe just like insight and security.
Okay.
To judge whether an individual is a threat to you. So to judge whether this thing is a threat to you.
All right. So I'm in the doorway and I hear something behind me. My insight and security together are a 14.
Okay. And I would say
also,
that's a difficulty.
Oh no. But also, is listening to what other people are saying, would that fall under espionage as a focus?
I don't know if you can argue that espionage is going to let you know if this not person is more of a threat, unfortunately.
Oh, I just meant I wanted to know if I could hear Tamal. I'll roll insight and security.
Okay.
All right, I failed. I got a 15 and oh wait, we're not rolling. I rolled my real dice. Okay. Flash.
You get another chance.
Die. 2d20.
And you're trying to figure out about Tamal?
You get one success.
I got one success, and I was trying to figure out if I could overhear Tamal and Lidra chatting as I left.
Oh. Yeah, I would say that's a difficulty of one.
Yeah, I did
because you didn't walk that far. You were, like you said, you were in the doorway, pretty much, you said, so.
Mm-hmm. And I'll whip around and say, "What's troubling?"
And I look at Tamal, and I'm just like, do you want me to?
Please.
And I go back over to Tula, and I like put my hand on her shoulders, and I guide her out of the infirmary. And I'm like, Tula, actually, we've noticed that there might indeed be some leftover spores in the air of the infirmary, and you're not safe in here. So I would recommend that you go to your quarters and lock the door and make sure that the air is circulating only in your quarters and not from outside, and just stay there until we call you.
As you're pushing me, I'm like looking over your shoulders and I'm like, oh, what are those black fingers? Oh, that's disgusting. 0691132 is a terrible disease.
Yes, indeed. And you don't want to catch it, so you should go to your quarters, probably.
I go to my quarters, but I tell everyone I meet about it.
Oh God.
Boy.
Oh, Lord. So you're just like traveling down the hallways like there is this crazy thing going on.
By the time I get back to the
everyone.
infirmary, there's like people crowding around trying to get a look or something.
Yes, for sure. So you have to, a security team has come out to try and keep people away from the medical bay. And they're telling people, they're like, it's Tula. She's making stuff up. Everyone apparently on the entire station knows you, and you're infamous for this. So after a little bit, they're able to get them to go away with that convincing. But do you actually head back to your quarters?
I will probably head back to my quarters, indeed, to like make sure everything feels sterile and perfect and doesn't have black fingers on it.
So you go do that. Meanwhile, the two of you have this individual who's just becoming overtaken by the fungus. The only thing that you have under your belt is your theory about the anti-gravity field.
Mm-hmm. I definitely need to speak to an engineer about creating this anti-gravity field containment device.
Yes, which we
do we have
one.
Miles O'Brien?
We do have Miles O'Brien.
Chief O'Brien.
He kind of is gruff. You can hear him like banging around. He's clearly in the Jeffries tubes doing some such nonsense. And he just kind of shouts at you.
I'm so sorry if I interrupted you. We have a bit of an emergency down here in the infirmary, and I could use your help in creating an anti-gravity field that is fully contained. There's a infection that we don't want spreading.
Kind of pauses for a moment. You hear him kind of think and then bang his head, and he's like, oh. And he says, well, this is what you could do. Can you turn the table, one of the medical tables, into an isolation chamber? Have you done that?
Yes, we've already done that.
Okay. And he instead of coming down there, he kind of walks you through what you need to do.
That's okay. I've got some
reprogram
stuff in engineering.
Yeah. So
can I get like a helping die from him?
Yes, you can. So if you want to do
probably like control to adjust or repair a sophisticated device or system.
Yes. And I would say that's going to be a difficulty of 2, and then you get a assistance die from him.
Okay. And I don't really have any focuses that would help with this. So we're just going to roll 3d20 and see. My control is 10 and my engineering is 3, so I have to get 13 or below. And let's see. Ooh, I get only 1 success. Can I use a momentum to buy another die, or
for sure? Yeah, because you have quite a momentum.
We have 2 momentum. So. I have it listed. Let me just make sure that I know. I think I can use it to re-roll 1 die. When you come to task using engineering or science, you may roll 1 additional d20 so long as you succeeded at a previous task covering the same scientific or technological field. Have I done that?
You
probably not messing with
coal.
Yeah, probably not then. But let me then I can just like buy an extra die with momentum probably. I'm trying to find where everything is in my book.
It's a very big book. It's very large.
It's everything's spread out everywhere too. Okay, but I think I can just use a momentum to buy a die.
And I think only one person can assist you, right? It's not like Tamal can assist you as well. I believe it's only 1.
I think it's for each extra person that assists you past 1, you add to the complication range. So I can use momentum to create an opportunity at a bonus d20. It must be made before the dice pool is rolled. But I might just fail.
You could go ahead and add it because I actually thought that you could add it afterwards. I was not aware of that. I think determination, maybe I think you can add afterwards.
Yeah.
Maybe that was what I was thinking of. So that was my bad.
Well, we'll just do it because you said I could do it. And I got 13!
Yay!
2 successes. Boom, I'll mark off 1.
So he walks you through that. It was a little difficult. You had a little trouble. It's definitely not your field of expertise.
There was a point where like the force field on the containment table like did a little like bzzzt, like it was gonna turn off, and I was like, oh shit. And then but I got it under control.
It's fine. So you managed to finagle everything and turn it into an isolated anti-gravity chamber. And Miles kind of hangs up with you and gets back to what he's doing in the Jeffries tubes.
And I like take a deep breath and poke my head out from the like table's the like control panel, and I look over at Tamal and I say, "Is anything happening?
Is anything happening? Is there something I need to roll to see if there's anything?
Sorry, you're really quiet.
I said, is anything happening? Do I need to roll to see if anything has changed, or do I see anything?
Were you just kind
visibly
of watching in the hallway, or were you watching? What were you watching?
I think I'm still in the room.
Okay, just making
like,
sure.
Trying to do this, yeah.
Well, while she's, I assume maybe the panel and the different engineering tasks that you're doing maybe are kind of below the table, and Tamal's watching Heron. And you just see that this fungus is just growing very fast. It's coming out of her ears. It's kind of like her eyes are closed, but there's just like stuff oozing down out of them. It's growing very quickly. The normal person would be a little panicked, so I don't know how Tamal would react to this.
I mean, probably not panicked. That's not really a logical mindset, but I think one of her values is emotion in a crisis only makes things worse.
Oh, that's so funny. That's one of my values too.
Twinsies.
Samesies.
Yeah,
I disagree.
But I mean, what's that? Of course you do. I mean, with the addition of the anti-gravity field, there's been no change. It hasn't sped up, has it?
No, that didn't seem to change anything. It just seems that it's kind of working. It's working on a clock where the longer this is taking, the quicker it's spreading. The field did not seem to change anything either way.
All right, I'll communicate that to Lidra. That the field does not seem to change anything.
Maybe I can, and like I get back up, like, and look at the table, and can I take a sample of one of the wavy fungus tendrils and transport it into the like containment space to get like a better scan of that in particular?
Sure.
Okay, so I just like use the transporter to isolate one of the little wavy things and like just transport it to where I scanned the like infection before.
Okay, and how do you have it when you transport it? What are you containing it in, and also what are you scanning for with it that you didn't find the last time?
Well, this I want to see if this is like the fungus combined with her flesh, like in terms of like genetics, or if it's just like the fungus. Like, is it using her like cells to turn it into something else, or is it like separate from her? And then I just want to get like an idea of how like fast it's growing, maybe.
Okay.
Like the cells are like separating and duplicating or something.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to do another check. We've done a lot of checks, or if we would I can just tell you.
You can just like do whatever you want. Like if you don't feel like it's like has enough of a like failure success rate, like.
I feel like you've learned enough about this that you know where to look. You know what you're looking for. Upon scanning it and examining it, you do see that it seems to have taken on some Bajoran DNA, and it is mutating. It's not just an infection anymore, and it's not necessarily a part of her. It is now changing her into something else.
Oh dear.
I'm trying to.
And I like. Can I try contacting Bashir?
Yeah, you can easily get in touch with him. Just he answers you
Doctor?
immediately. Yes.
Perrin is no longer stable. Unless you've found someone else who has evidence of the infection, we could really use you here.
He thinks for a moment. And he's like, "No, there's been nothing out here. I'll come back straight away." And he beeps out and comes through the door shortly later. And he is just he maintains his poker face, but you can tell he's like, "Oh shit," and rushes over and looks at the changes that you made to the panel. And he's like, "Okay, I see what you did here." And he kind of like looks a little bit and looks very thoughtful. And he says, "Let's try one more thing." And he gets down under the panel and he signals for O'Brien, and they chat for a minute, and he pops back up and flips a switch, and the fungus just freezes and stops moving.
What did you change?
Your anti-gravity field was genius, but the only addition I had was an antimatter. I added an antimatter field to this. So the combination of anti-gravity and antimatter maintains the fact that if this is something that goes beyond material, if there's something in there that is intangible and affecting her DNA, we have frozen it. So that's all we can do for now. I don't know how to get rid of this at the moment. We haven't found any more of it on the station, thankfully.
Do you know where she might have come in contact with this? Was she on an away mission before, or?
He looks a little flustered, and he looks around, and he looks over at Tamal, and he's like, "Tamal, this is your friend. Were you with her earlier? Do you know what she was doing?" What'd you say?
I said, "We are not friends." Were Perrin and Tamal doing anything before?
You could tell me. Do you think, like, throughout Tamal's day, would she have actually listened to anything Perrin said?
No. Absolutely not. And what was Perrin's role again?
She's security.
Security, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming security, they like patrol the station. Probably like if there are people coming and going throughout the station, I could find out. I'm sure like if Perrin was at some sort of entry point, there would be a record of it, and I could see who came in at that time.
Yeah, that would be fair.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to let him know that you actually have no idea what she's been doing, but you will find out, or like, I don't listen to her.
I don't listen to her. I will find out what Perrin has done throughout her day and see if she has come in contact with any outsiders.
Okay. Bashir nods. He nods thoughtfully, and he looks around the room, and he's like, there's nothing else that we can do. I'll stay here with the patient and keep an eye that this field maintains, because if this spreads, this could be catastrophic, and we need to make absolutely sure that no one on the station is panicking about this or knows about it.
And then he looks around.
Yeah. And he looks around, and he's like, "Where's Tula?" And I don't know where Tula is right now.
She's stay in your quarters.
Tula has decided to put together a gift basket for Perrin. So she is on the promenade shopping, and all the shopkeeps she's saying, and she has these like weird black fungus fingers coming off of her. It's probably way worse. Maybe she's a giant mushroom now. But if she's not, I think she would really love some fruit. And do you have any fruit I could buy?
And everybody's just kind of like shrugging you off. They're used to this nonsense. Luckily, it is you that's saying it and not anyone with any sort of credibility. But
Hey!
across the hallway, you see a head pop out, and it's a Cardassian, a very handsome Cardassian, who looks at you, and he's like, Miss Tula, why don't you come in here? I have something I need to show you. And it's I don't know if you want to say if you know this man.
Tula will say, oh, Elam, I was wondering when I would bump into you on the station. Oh, I'm sorry, Garrick. You go by Garrick now.
Oh,
and
he kind of waves his hand, and he's like, Tula, you can call me by any name. We've known each other long enough for that. And he kind of looks around a little bit, and he's like, I hear you have some interesting stories you're telling everyone today. And he kind of, as he's saying this, he's walking around and kind of like touching some fabrics and, you know, kind of looking. It seems like he's looking with a purpose for something in particular, but he's kind of talking to you casually at the same time.
Yeah, I will put my gift basket down and kind of follow him around his shop and explain to him my day, how there were this terrible emergency while I was in the infirmary, and thank goodness that I was there with all the doctors so they could check me, and they scanned me a bunch. But I saw this one woman was not so lucky, and she now has these giant black tendrils growing off of her, and I will describe them in detail.
Garrett kind of looks thoughtfully, and he's like, I think I heard a tale on Cardassia about something like this once. Are you sure you didn't dream this up? And before you can answer, he kind of picks up a scarf that he had draped on a mannequin, and he's like, yes, this is perfect. And he swings it around your shoulders for you, and he kind of rests a hand on your shoulder a little too long. You notice it. He puts a little pressure there, and before you can really react to that properly, you notice that the point that he's putting pressure, there's something sewn into the fabric there. You can feel that he's pushing something into your arm. And he says, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. I want you to take this back to your quarters tonight, and I want you to try it on in the mirror and look at yourself and really think about it, and come back to me tomorrow and tell me what you think. And he like takes it off your shoulders and puts it in your hands.
I will sort of fold it up neatly and tuck it away somewhere on my person, and I'll give him a knowing nod and say, Elam, you've always had the most perfect taste. And
thank you, my dear.
I hope we bump into each other again soon, and I will float off. Then I will come back, grab the basket I left, giggle, and leave.
He just kind of shakes his head, but with a smile on his face as you giggle and leave. You two, back with Bashir, having realized that you let Tula loose upon the world with this knowledge, he kind of says, well, Tamal, if you could find out about Perrin, and Lidra, if you could find Tula and make sure she's not doing much damage, I will remain with the patient and monitor her throughout the night. If the two of you could do that and meet back here in a few hours with me, that would be perfect. And he's a little flustered, and he sits back down next to the table, and he starts doing some calculations on his data pad, trying to figure out. You could tell normally these things come easier to him, but this is a little strange, and it's really bothering him.
I think that Lidra goes to leave, and then she sees that Julian's flustered, and she comes back and she stands over his shoulder for just a second, and she's looking at a pad. And then she looks over to Tamal, and she lowers the pad and leans over him a bit. And she's like, Julian, do you need me to get you anything? A Raktajino or?
And he kind of rests his chin in his hand. And he said, Aractagino, lovely, thank you.
Of course,
And
I'll be right back.
Raises her eyebrow just a little bit and leaves.
So
can I find some other? Is there? Karen was like specific Bajoran security, right?
correct.
Can I see if I can find any more of the tan-clad security officers? Beige, tan.
Yes, I don't know. Would the head of Bajoran security be different, or can we just send you
That's Odo.
to anyone? Yeah, I think Odo would just, to go to the main
He's
office,
head of
security
station
office.
security.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he would definitely be the one to go to. So if you
Okay,
make your
I will
way
go.
over to Odo, he is definitely in his office. It's later in the evening, so he's in there kind of finishing up one of his shifts. So if you want to ask him, it should not be challenging just to ask him for those records, especially because you have a reason. I don't think we need to do anything for that.
Okay, I will go into his office, and I will say, I don't remember the rank, but I would just let him know that I have one of his security personnel whose schedule I need to look over to see if they have come in contact with any outsiders that have come through the station today in the last 24 hours.
Odo kind of grunts at you and says, yes, Bashir already informed me that you would be coming. He kind of taps on a data pad and he hands it to you. And he looks at you and he said, I always wish you would have been in security, Tamal. You always seem like you get things done. And then he goes back to what he's doing at his desk.
Do not understand compliments, so I will I will just give him like a polite nod, like I acknowledge that it's a compliment from a superior, but do not know how to process it. And then I will look through the data on the pad. Do I see anything that like jumps out at me? Are there any comings and goings?
You see that she checked in several times throughout the day. Her main priorities were patrolling. The thing that sticks out to you is that a little bit before she did her patrol that ended up following you and then leading to Quarks, she was at the docking bay. So that sticks out to you because of your earlier thought that perhaps there was someone traveling through that she maybe came into contact with.
Okay. Who would I need to talk to get like, I don't remember, like dossiers of who was coming in at the time that Perrin was in the docking bay and what they had in their ship?
You could probably go back to Odo. I would say Odo can probably supply you with that information, keeping security records of people that come and go. The strange thing is when you get that information from Odo, anything that docked during that small window of time, there's nothing. There's a gap. There's a gap in the records there.
Okay. So there's no information about who was docking. It's just blank. It's not that they claimed that there was nothing on the ship.
Right.
Okay.
Considering the fact of how regular ships come and go from Deep Space Nine, how scheduled this is, that gap really sticks out to you.
And who's in charge of the records?
I don't know that anyone in particular is. Good question. I would still say Odo is in charge of it, but when you show it to him, he has no idea what happened. He takes the pad from you and leaves to go and see if he can find out. But for the time being, you've definitely hit a wall. There's no way to know who she came in contact with, where they went, and it's very clear that there's a level of sabotage involved.
Okay.
Lidra. So you go and get Aractogeno for Bashir and bring it back?
Yeah, and in the meantime, I'm definitely like keeping my eye out to see if I can see Tula around. But also, I'm like, poor Bashir. Like, he's obviously so overwhelmed, and like I can only do so much because like I'm mostly not like medicine. Like, I'm mostly like things that you can take your time on, and this is not really something you can take your time on. So I'm just trying to like help in any way I can. So yeah, I go into. Probably not Quarks. Probably, I think that there's like a separate dining area that just has like a wall of replicators or something. Mm-hmm. And I get like 2 Rectagino and then like bring one back, and I'm just like, is Tula around? You know,
Tula is maybe passing through, but I'm heading back towards my quarters to beautifully arrange this gift basket and also check out this scarf. So maybe you see me passing through, and I've got this like really fashionable scarf on. Oh, Lidra, hello! I'm just getting this gift basket together for Perrin. Did you find out? And I'm making sure everyone in the area sees me talking to you. Have you found out what those terrible fungus fingers are?
Tula, quiet.
Nobody believes me.
You shouldn't be.
It's an emergency, and I think everybody should know.
If everyone should know, then of course we'll make sure that Cisco or Kira alerts the station. But right now, the only person who has anything wrong with them is Perrin, and you're just going to irritate her friends and family by spreading this information around. We're doing our best.
I hadn't thought about that from her family's perspective. That is a very good point. Thank you, Lidra. But did you find anything out about the fungus fingers?
Still saying it loudly.
Come. If you're going to talk about this, then come back to the infirmary. We don't need to talk about this in the middle of the promenade.
Oh, well, I do need to get her this gift basket. As we walk, I'll kind of rearrange it, and these fruit, not from a replicator. That's probably why she got sick, because she didn't have any apples.
Well,
replicator apples are not the same.
Actually, they are exactly the same, but once she recovers, I'm sure she'll be very grateful. Dr. Bashir, here, and she like hands him one of the Rakaginos, and then she says, Tula, as you can see, we've stabilized her. Now, if you could stop making a fuss.
Tula has not seen her since she left, and before Bashir got there, like the fungus was spreading even more, so she screams and drops the basket. Oh my goodness, what happened to her?
Bashir was very caught up. He almost spills his Ractagino when Tula screams. You think he'd be used to it by now, but he's not. He's absolutely not. And he's like, oh, no, we're doing our best, Tula. And it would be best if you kept this close to the vest. If you know what I mean.
I don't know if she's capable of keeping anything close to the vest.
This is definitely an emergency of some sort, and I think that people should be warned. What if there's someone out there who's about to turn into one of these things, and you said you scanned me and you saw something for a second? What if I turn into one of these things? And I just start crying.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm gonna turn into a black finger.
Can I use my focus of psychiatry to find something that will calm her down?
Oh yeah, for sure. Or,
psychiatry, not psychology. There's medicine involved.
If she returns from Odo, can definitely Vulcan nerve pinch her, because I think, Adil, didn't you pick that ability?
Which one was that?
That's a little violent.
Oh yeah, nerve pinch. Yeah, I absolutely did.
Assaulting me.
I just want to dope her up.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so I sit you down on one of the farthest away medical tables, and I mumble just like inane, like, just here, I'll give you something and it will halt the spread. You definitely, and then I just like hypo spray you in the neck, and it's like space Xanax or something.
I can feel it destroying the fungus fingers. I can definitely feel it.
Yeah, you should go to sleep.
Yeah. And I fall asleep on the table.
Oh my goodness. So Tamal, do you come back from visiting with Odo?
I will come back. I will feel disappointed that I do not have all the answers. But, I mean, Odo is looking into it. He is a superior, so he will be able to get it done. But yeah, I will return to the medical bay.
He's a smart boy. So Tula, you just straight up took some Xanax and fell asleep, I guess, before you could check into your whole scarf situation.
I think I'm still
just like does it do that thing where it like falls out of her hand when she passes out?
For sure. As she passes out, it does fall, and
I go to pick it up to like put it on her like table or something.
And it happens to be that the spot you grab that feels like there's something embedded into the fabric.
And I do the little like I want to make sure that I don't like break anything, so I just like unravel the scarf to like fold it neatly and take whatever this is out of it. Like, what is it?
It's a small note, and as you unfold it, you see that it's written in a few different scripts. Do you pick languages in this game? I don't think you do.
You would pick like that you studied languages in general, not one specific language. Because there's a universal translator, so you don't need to study languages. True. So unless it's in like a code or an obscure language that wouldn't be recognized by the universal translator, it would just like be fine. They hand wave people speaking other languages.
You're able to read it thanks to the universal translator. I forgot about because I am in D&D mode, and it says just a simple sentence that says, "Don't let it spread," and that's it.
And like I look at it, and I don't know if I've ever like handwritten notes aren't really common. Most people send messages like on pad or whatever, so I don't know if this is Tula's handwriting or not. And I'm just like, it's good that she's asleep. And I like put the note down like on top of the folded scarf, like next to her, and I like set down the basket like also like next to her, on a little like side table or something. And I just like really quickly, because I think I still have it in my head about the like little blip, I give her like another scan to make sure she's not infected. And then like if she's
the scan, how are you feeling at this moment?
How am I feeling? Like emotionally? She just like, she is very like, as a scientist, she like tests everything like multiple times over and over to like see if like one of the tests has like a mistake. So she is really used to like, I check it and then I check it again and then I check it again. So like it's kind of almost like second nature for her to just like, just real quick, like let me scan. So she's kind of feeling just like, there's this like underlying calm from being in her element, in so much that like, yes, it's a little bit more rushed, but for like the rushed part, she feels like it's more like Bashir's thing, and there's like a little bit of like concern for him, but she also is like, this is a cool new genetic thing, and there's a little bit of like excitement for discovering like a new thing, as long as it's contained, so there's a little bit of like a calm, there's a little bit of excitement, there's a little bit of like secondhand stress for Bashir, but
well, as you're scanning, you're not picking up anything, but Tula's hair is doing its normal flashing various colors that it always does. It's mostly white, but you do see that there are streaks of black, like kind of spreading through it. And there is a moment when you're scanning her, you see what looks like a little tendril in the black area before the black hair spreads through and you can't see it anymore.
But the scan is clean.
But the scan is clean, and that's where we'll stop for tonight.
No.
So,
Oh man.
Tula's actually sick.
Well, I mean, she has a rose quartz. I'm sure she'll be fine.
she'll be fine.
The rose
She
quartz will
gave
solve
you
it.
the rose quartz.
Oh, that's right. I still have it.
Yeah, you do. I thought she had multiple. She just keeps a buttload
She just
of.
has crystals like everywhere. Her hair is actually like a Mary Poppins bag of crystals.
Yes, that's what I was picturing. Because you're like, I'm pulling them out. I'm pulling them out.
Yeah,
Left and right.
yeah. How she gets that
Oh.
volume.
Yeah.
Yes, gets that volume. Hides them crystals.
So today,
Yeah.
so this episode's only 2 hours. I didn't realize.
Yep. We're just doing 2-hour sessions. So
So it's almost like a two-part episode of a regular Star Trek show. Cool.
yeah, and I'll kind
I'm
of.
so excited for next week.
I'm intending to kind of function in kind of how Deep Space Nine had a semi-overarching plot, but still had a lot of the, stuff. So that's kind of what we're going to dabble in, and we'll see how it goes. So this was my first foray into public DMing, and I hope it was okay.
You did such a good job. Yeah.
You did a
First
great
episodes
job.
are always fun, so thank you guys for joining me. If we want to go around and say everybody where you are on the internet again and who you are and all that fun stuff, we can start with Blue Jay again.
Sure. I'm Blue Jay. You can find me on the internet at twitch.tv/BlueJay or on Twitter at BlueJay_712. I do a lot of role playing. So if you want to catch any of the shows I've been on, I think I've been on like 30 or 32 in the past 2 years. They're all at bluejay.tv/portfolio. So I have a wide range of entertainment for you when this show's off the air. And that's me. I'm really excited to continue this. Star Trek is my shit. I'm sorry if I like Trekno babbled at you too much. I was like,
No,
the
I love
Jordan
it.
security amateurs will be marrying Tan.
Trek explain.
No,
I
never-
can't help myself.
Yeah, never fear correcting me, because I mean, there's so much to Star Trek. I love it, but there's still,
There's a lot.
I'm gonna make
I don't
mistakes.
even know like half of it.
Yeah, so totally fine. Lisa.
I'm Lisa. You can find me on Twitter at MercifulDM, super active on there. So you can find out about my writing stuff, the stuff I do with Adventurers League, and also Behold Her podcast. There should be a new episode coming out early next week, all about kids and D&D. So I talk to some actual different girls who are playing D&D in school or on their own podcasts, and also a psychiatrist who uses D&D to empower girls and make them stronger. So that's going to be a really good episode. Look out for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yay. Behold Her podcast.
Give it 5-star reviews.
Yes, please.
And your friend, but certainly my best friend, Hadil.
It's me, your best friend. Hi, I'm Hadil. You can find me online as Twittysuch, TWITTYSUCH. On Thursdays, I play Trapped in the Birdcage on twitch.tv/DND, and then on Sundays, I play House Bells with Lisa and Kayla on twitch.tv/DND.
Oh yeah, if you ever need a guest,
Yes, you should play
hit me
with
up.
Yeah.
And Kayla and I also do Bramblefoot Adventures, which is like D&D content for all ages, and it's real good, and we love all of our children. That's patreon.com/Bramblefoot Adventures. And you should subscribe, because I don't have any furniture, so I need you to subscribe. I'm sitting in my empty
subscribe.
apartment with no furniture.
Get our girl a chair to sit on.
Get
I
her a
would
chair.
love a chair. It's just like one of those, was it you caring? Get Hadil a chair.
Get Hadil a chair.
I'm sitting
Please.
on 2 pillows right now. These pillows
Aw.
belong on my bed, but I ain't got no chair.
Get Hadil a chair. Hadil a mic.
Hadil a chair.
For 6 cents a day, you could get Hadil
you
a
could
chair.
get, you too. Get Hadil. Yes. I forgot
That's
to
it,
mention
that's
Bramblefoot.
What about
Yeah, well, I forgot to mention Bramblefoot, which is the most important thing in the entire world to anyone ever. We make a lot of supplemental 5e content. And if you subscribe, maybe Hadil will get a chair.
Maybe.
We should just make that an incentive. The chair tier.
get or that's like our goal. Like one of
Yes.
our monthly goals is like Hadil needs a chair. Please help.
Please help. But yeah, I'm Kayla. You can find me on the internet at KAYNCLI on anything. I feel like I am involved in Bramblefoot Adventures, Hell's Bells. I did the art for Behold Her. I'm working on several Strix comics. Helped Holly with her new clothing line, which you should check out. Etsy.com/shop/TrashWitchCoven. There's all kinds of stuff. I do lots of art. It's really fun, and I hope that you enjoyed this fun times. I love Star Trek a lot. Deep Space Nine is my favorite, so Garrick is my favorite.
Yes.
He's a
I mean, I
best.
do love Garrick a lot, but also I'm truly a shallow girl, and Julian's just a beautiful man.
He's a
So,
beautiful
He is a
man.
beautiful man. He's a pretty
Good
man.
man.
Good man's. A pure man. But all right, so I guess we will see you next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern on the same channel. And that's
See you next week.
Yay.